All right, welcome back everyone to Get the Net. Bit of a unique show tonight. We got quite the mix. We've got a bunch of stories from the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show. Kind of got the inside track, got a beat on the upcoming ice fishing season. Lots to talk about there. Got game of inches happening. We'll touch on that. We're going to talk about some stuff on the Bassmaster front. We got a couple of really good guests. We're going to have some good laughs, probably a few good stories, and you already clicked on it, so you may as well strap in for the hour. We'll see you on the other side of the intro. Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tuned anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic dock talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye, and I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs. Okay, welcome back everyone. As I mentioned earlier, I just got back from the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show. It's been a while since I've been at something like that. I think maybe 2019 or whenever the show first happened, I went and checked it out a little bit. I had no part in it, was just kind of lurking through. Got called up to rip a couple seminars this year and get into the workshop. So, yeah, I was all over that. I mean, what else am I going to do? November 5th and 6th, I guess deer hunting's rocking, but I'm not good enough to get on those things this early. So got on that program. It was cool. Like it was, I used to go down to the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show for fun. A buddy Sean and I would go down there and check out all the things and everything. And I, kind of hadn't really been to the expo seminar thing lately. And it was a lot of fun. They had like a good full house of vendors, a bunch of different other kinds of booths, bunch of contests, seminars. They had everyone's lube tube heroes there. Alex Perrick was there with the 39 inches or game of inches it's called. They had all their hands on deck. Got to see Joe Cooper and Lisa. That's always always a welcome sight. They were there for the big game of inches premiere, and it was just a ton of fun. There's a lot of people that I hadn't even met yet. Like Clayton Schick came over and said hi. He's like, yeah, I like your YouTube videos, even though you're making fun of YouTubers, and that's what I do for a living. So I was tried to explain that a little bit. But just cool, cool to meet those guys, and just fans. I didn't know that they were really fans. Like I get my tires pumped by people online here and there, and if I see someone at a tournament, whatever. But to have actual people coming up to you and saying they watch your stuff and everything, it's pretty cool. Didn't really realize that was a thing. Like I said, I haven't really been to one of these events. This is the first big one that I've been at and really stuck around, probably since the Winnipeg Boat Show, like pre-COVID. So I guess lots has changed. It was really cool though. Good experience. Lots of cool events too. Like there's a fillet contest. I was lipping off the guy that won last year, Daniel Stagg. He's a laser. He's been getting prepped for it. And then just a bunch of other rockets there. So I signed up. The first two guys that went could fillet a walleye from start to finish, both sides, boneless, in 34 and 35 seconds. So I was like, I'm in trouble. Like, one of those things where you just kind of sign up because you want to be in a competition, but you're outgunned. So stood my ground there. I got 37 seconds and then had like a bone. So I got a penalty there, and whatever else was mid-pack. Didn't embarrass myself too much in the fillet contest, but lots of fun. There was a DJ for a fillet contest. I've never seen that before. Bunch of hype. And yeah, it was cool. There's a bunch of seminars on the go. Pizer, Siemens, the kind of the usual suspects were on that front. Cameron Tate from Outdoor Canada was there. He's a high-end chef. I actually got paired with him. There's a lake to plate contest, so it's pretty much a shore lunch speed derby. I had to clean the fish and he had to cook it. And he's like, I don't know, they call it Red Seal chef or a high endo. You know, he ain't just making Smith camps and potatoes on the shore lunch rock. He's going for it. So I get paired with him, and like he's like, I'm a professional chef, so I'm gonna make it good. And I'm just like, well, I'm a competitor, so we're gonna make it fast, bud. Let's win this thing. So he reluctantly agreed, and yeah, ripped a walleye in 33 seconds. I was pretty proud of myself. I was shaking like a leaf before I started carving that sucker up. Cameron had that sucker cooked up like in 4 seconds. Not actually 4 seconds. I think it took him a minute from start to finish. Presentation was on point. We won the lake to plate, so nice to sneak in a mini derby there. Got to lip off to Clayton and Daniel Stagg and those guys. Steve Berg, the guy that won the fillet champ, he slipped up a little on Derby day 2. So yeah, pretty fun. I'm a little too competitive. Like I don't think these guys were going as hard as I was, but I can't turn it off. I thought I could, but I can't, especially if it's got something to do with fishing or anything like that. So tons of people there from all over the place too. Like you don't realize how big ice fishing is. People were driving from like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Eastern Ontario. The Saskatchewan guys were actually like, they were there heavy. They were playing for keeps too. You can tell there's not much going on in Saskatchewan that weekend because they came all the way up to Winnipeg, snuck out with the boys after the 39 inches. I keep saying 39 inches. It's game of inches. It's the 39 hours crew, kind of same format. It's pretty much a big YouTube ice fishing derby that they shot last year. And it premiered on Monday, so that's definitely worth a look. But anyway, kind of went out with a couple guys from that crew after. Ended up seeing the sights in Winnipeg with some Saskatchewan beauties, and yeah, it was pretty funny. I was just like, they were like pumping my tires, and yeah, we listened to the podcast and we this and that and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I started asking them like a few hours after hanging out, like what's going on like with that big walleye tournament in Saskatchewan. They got a tournament called the Vanity Cup, and it's like $2,000 to enter. First place is like in the 6 figures. So I had some questions about that. I was like, well, what is actual first place? And the one guy, Sweet Lou, is just like, well, when I won a couple of years ago, I think it was 140. I was like, what? You won the highest paying tournament other than the Bassmaster Classic in the world, pretty much. And you're just bringing it up now. I'm like, everyone I know in the tournament game or in the fishing game would have, like, that'd be like their opening line. Like, hi, I'm Lou from Saskatchewan and won the Vanity Cup or whatever. Like, maybe not that forward, but you know what I mean. Then one of the other Sask guys we were with was Adam Crawford, and he was asking questions about KVI and this, that, and the other thing. And the Ontario tournaments mentioned he came up to the KWO and didn't do very well or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then doesn't say a word else. And I flip on the TV to watch full disclosure, I didn't actually watch the Game of Inches thing. I went to Smitty's with the Lake of the Woods sports crew. Went back for when everything was said and done, and pretty much went back for the party. But I turned on the TV with my wife on Monday night, and I clicked on Clayton's like section of the video, and the guy was right there. Like, didn't say a word about it. Was there for the premiere. Like, that's a pretty big time thing in the ice fishing game. I mean, this thing's kind of the biggest thing happening in ice fishing right now. But he's one of 10 people in it and doesn't say a damn word about it. So just pretty cool. I guess it's a different kind of layout over in Saskatchewan. Pretty damn humble. And yeah, there's some good anglers out there. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of these sports shows, getting to meet people that are, share the same interests as you and obviously are pretty hardcore about it. They drove through like a snowstorm to get home and just to hang out at an ice fishing show for the weekend. So, yeah, pretty cool. I'll definitely be going there next year. If you're at all into fishing, like, you don't have to be a hardcore ice angler. There's lots of lots of other stuff and just people to talk to, like-minded people. So definitely pretty cool. Check that one out next year. It's the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show. And not that they need the ad, but Game Inches, I think, is on every Monday. So I watched the first one. It's pretty entertaining. It's mixes a couple of things I like a lot. That's fishing and competition. So one thing I want to touch on, and I don't know if it's going to help anyone or make any sense or anything like that, but just something that's been on my mind a little bit lately. Like I said, I was at the ice fishing show. People are coming up to me, doing seminars, everything like that, doing everything you're supposed to be to kind of make a name for yourself in the fishing world, and being involved in all facets of that. And then at the same time, like as that's going on, it's sponsor season. Most companies kind of want to lock up their 2023 marketing budgets, and it's time for negotiations. So I've been spending a lot of time on like the annual reports and media kits and talking to these companies, and I mean pretty much just like selling yourself, saying everything you've done, everything you can do. It's a really competitive deal, so you kind of seems like you have to go pretty hard and really sell yourself. One thing that I've noticed and have kind of been corrected on is just kind of how much of a narcissistic mindset you can end up with. Like, in doing all these things, I've noticed that my ego's really exploded. Like it's pretty much been 2 weeks about telling people how great I am, and it's not natural. And then when you snowball it with all the great support from a bunch of other people, it just kind of it's one of those things. And Ashley actually mentioned it to me. She's like, "You're getting a little cocky, bud." And I kind of took a step back, and I'm like, "Yeah, you are 100% right." I'm so glad she said something. We're usually pretty good on that front for calling each other out. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, and I kind of reflected on it a little bit. I'm glad I can kind of have an outside opinion on it, and am aware that that's a thing that happens, and probably as you advance in this game, it's gonna continue to happen. You kind of need that realignment, and for me, I kind of need to be humbled and kind of reminded of what I've kind of been through and where I've come from to have everything I have now, and the opportunities and health and relationships and gear and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Like, I had to quit my high school basketball team in grade 10 because I didn't have enough money to finish the season. I mean, that's that's pretty low end, and that was just the reality at the time. There was there was a lot going on, and just one of those things, and something I kind of reflect back to, and kind of think about how lucky I am to have been able to fish and live in an area where I can fish all the time. I never fished tournaments or anything in high school. I would go to a buddy's house. We had a boat that our shop teacher gave us, and just like a trolling motor and a battery, and be able to go fishing, and just for not knowing that you're preparing for a career in the industry or anything like that, but just being able to grind it out for just kind of the love of the game. Lucky enough to have good fish and get bites. You can just go and at a telescopic flipping stick and 20-pound mono, and for me, it's really helpful to kind of be reminded of that. I can see already, and I'm kind of just cresting the game here, rolling around in a big shiny boat with all the gear, and and a little bit of success here and there, and a few fans here and there, and like I said, it can really go to your head. And I just feel like that can not only does it make you someone that people don't want to be around, probably hurts your fishing game pretty bad too. I would have to think so. You know, my kind of whole approach to tournament fishing is almost solely based around kind of a mental foundation. You know, not being too cocky. It's important to be confident. You need to throw a bait that you know is going to catch fish. But if you're going into some of these tournaments, it doesn't matter if you're bass fishing or walleye fishing in the US or Canada. It's, you know, it's all the same kind of game. And I feel like if you're too cocky, and, you know, don't accept that, okay, these guys are better at this and, you know, my strength's over here, and you just think you're the best at everything, you're going to get stepped on and you're going to get run over. Um, you know, and I think that kind of creates the mindsets like, you know, like what Cody Wood was talking about, where his pro angler quit mid tournament. The time frame where his pro had quit. I mean, there's been lots of tournaments where I haven't had a fish till then. And I think that's kind of where having that, you know, that humble kind of beginning and working and grinding up through it, and, you know, having that built-in resiliency really comes through. Like, it's, you just don't seem to get as rattled, where if you go in just thinking you're the man and you're going to win every tournament, it's, you know, you kind of get let down like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm rambling a bit here, but those are just kind of my thoughts on the matter. So that's probably not going to help anyone. I just, it's just something I wanted to point out. And yeah, hopefully, if you got someone around you that's being a little bit too cocky and thinks they're the man. I mean, there's always a lot of ego in anything competitive, and it seems to be even more in fishing. Then yeah, a little realignment probably doesn't hurt. So super glad I got to experience that, because things are happening. This is the big announcement. I got enough of a kickstart to make enough sense in my head to sign up for all 9 Bassmaster Opens for the Elite Series qualifier next year, starting in March. So it's a big thing. I mean, when I initially saw the schedule, I was like, there's no way, like, you know, and they had made that announcement to fish all 9. And I was, you know, still like a little bit crippled about not getting into that first tournament and, you know, possibly costing me my only chance at the elites. And, you know, but I'm just kind of looking at it like this is probably the only chance I'm going to have in my life. It's certainly, like, without a doubt, the only swing I'm going to have at it in the next several years. So I've got to take it. I haven't been to any of these lakes ever before. I don't have, you know, the resources to not work throughout it. So there's going to be, I'll probably put around 50,000 kilometers on my truck traveling back and forth. I had a couple people that I know and a couple companies step up the game and, you know, give me that kickstart. I'm still going to be majorly on the struggle bus, and checks are going to be really important in the tournament series, and, you know, still going to be on that sponsor grind going forward, to try to, you know, pad it a little bit, because you don't make money in these. It's just not a thing that happens. So yeah, that's where that's at. I'm going in with the goal of making the Elite Series. You know, I've got enough time off squirreled away to you know, kickstart the Opens and take it pretty far. And yeah, just really fortunate to have a chance at it. You know, it's a lot of sacrifice, and it's been a ton of work just to get to this point. You know, may as well push it a little bit further. So thanks again to everyone that's been involved with this. And there's been quite a few people kicking some tires and thinking about jumping on board. So just really awesome to see that kind of support. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. All right, before we rock any further, I do have to interrupt this and, you know, really ask for a favor. You know, thanks for the continued support and for clicking on this video and for sitting through it and everything. But I really do need a donation of your time. if you don't have an account, or if you do and you're not subscribed, then I would really appreciate it if you subscribed and hit the notification bell. It's free to sign up for an account. It's free to subscribe. Your stuff's not going to get spammed with all my content. It's not like that. It's it's mostly just like a tip of the hat, but it shows the algorithm that, hey, like I'm into this content. It shows, the bigger the subscriber number, the kind of better your chances are with brand deals and everything like that. So really, really need some support there. It's not a requirement for viewing, much the same as it's not a requirement to return your shopping cart, or it's not a requirement to release a 7-pound bass instead of throwing them on the hibachi. Not a requirement, but it's something that if you're a contributing member of society and a decent person, it's just something that you kind of do. So, like I said, it's free. If you've listened this far, then would really appreciate that donation of your time. Whether you already have an account, it might take you 1 second or not. It might take you a couple seconds. So, yeah, just one of those things. I mean, I look at all the analytics, and this podcast will get listened to, between 4,000 and 10,000 times between all the platforms, and maybe like less than 5% of those people are subscribed. So, kind of surprising that many people listen and just not slide your cursor down to that red button that says subscribe. But I mean, it's just the way of the road. So if you want continued content and want to help out, then all you have to do is subscribe. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone who already is subscribed. You're definitely part of the solution, and I appreciate the ongoing support, and happy to have all the new subscribers as well. So I'm going to rip a little giveaway here. Not something that I've done before on this podcast, but I've got probably a couple $100 worth of tackle here. We got a bunch of Rapala ice fishing baits, some Z-Man soft plastics. We got some brand new non-release colors of the Smeltinator jig. You can be the first person with one of those. So what I'm going to do, all you have to do, if you're already subscribed, just comment subscribed. And if you're a new subscriber, you had to do the account, you had to subscribe, just slide on down, comment, subscribe. It makes it really simple. I can see that, you're a subscriber, and I have people to pick from the comments. I'll just put them all in a randomizer, pick someone for the draw, and we'll get this out to you, right away. Just going to run it for the week, and, whoever gets down there is going to end up with some new gear, one lucky winner. So yeah, just another way to kind of say thanks. I do appreciate all the support. I hate having to interrupt these videos and ask for it, but it's just the way of the road. And if everyone was subscribed, I wouldn't have to stop and ask. But thanks again for listening, and we'll keep rocking on here. And one more thing for the listeners of the show. We got a special deal for the Get the Netters. www.btfishing.com. There's all kinds of Smeltinator jigs, Smeltinator underspins, marabou jigs, football jigs, clack shot season. Clack shots are starting to rock. If you don't know what that is, check out some videos on that on my YouTube channel, and check them out at btfishing.com. There's some beauty new colors of Smeltinators. There's a Lake Winnipeg special one that's been flying off the shelves, so something to look at. New golden shiner color that'll be pretty dialed on the walleye front. And just for being a fan of the show, use promo code GETTHENET, all capitals, at checkout. Save yourself another 10%. We ship everywhere in Canada and the U.S. Free shipping over $99. Get that in ya. So to kick this off, I got a couple buddies I met. I met them each before the Bass Opens last year, but I stayed with each of them, and they're good dudes. They've been on the trail before. They are going to have some good stories. They're good anglers. And we'll get into it. We got Brad Leitner and Adam Rasmussen.
What's going on?
Oh, just texting Brad.
He's at the tavern with Chancey Walters.
I don't know what he's doing. What day is it? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense then. Yeah,
What are we
I don't know. He
talking
called and
about?
was like, he said, he's just like, I'm going to the bar. I might be late. Well, you're for sure going to be late if you're at the bar.
Should have did this at the warehouse so I could rip cigarettes all night.
Okay, I can hear you clear. You're probably the clearest guest in a while.
All right, good.
We've been bush leaguing that, so I can't believe you're the guy that's ahead of the technology of anyone.
I got good internet.
Yeah, Brad's not going to have it. We got Adam Rasmussen here just introduced and waiting on Brad Leitner. I guess he's at a bar with another Bassmaster Opens angler, Chancey Walters. Where is that, Raz?
Somewhere in Iowa. I don't know. I know Brad, he has some land down in Iowa somewhere, southern Iowa. Chancey, I just met him at the last tournament at Rayburn, and he lives in southern Iowa, and I'm sure they're talking about big bucks and a little
Yeah.
jealous. Wish I could go down there and shoot one instead of trying to shoot one of these pricks in Wisconsin.
Well, just come a little further north and you won't have that problem because they're all gone.
Yeah, it's seeming to be the case around here too.
Yeah. Well, you guys turned some bratwurst down there. You got a pretty heavy crew of ice fishermen, and
we got brats and bush lights. That's about all we got left. And we got some big brown bass too.
Yeah, I think those 3 are on like the Wisconsin state flag. For sure, bush. So, yeah, I don't know. Brad's going to be a wild card, but shit, man, you've been around the block. You got some good stories. You're I just announced that I was going down to the Opens. That was my big announcement for the night. I already knew you're going.
Yeah, I got my confirmations late last night. Did you get your confirmation on it?
Yeah, they sent it all. I don't know why we were like getting worried about it. Like, it's not like there's 225 guys that are going to do all 9 guys and gals. I know girls doing it too.
I started freaking out, and I'm like, it was 9:07, and I'm like, nothing was working, trying to sign up, and I was on the phone on hold plus doing the computer deal, and then that was a half hour of BS yesterday trying to get in them, and there's not going to be 225 guys that do all of them, but
yeah, I know, but it's just built into you. Like, it felt exactly like last year when there was 400 guys trying to get into the Southern Opens, and it was just like pages crashing, and you re-enter your info like
right.
And it felt the same, even though, like, I don't know, what's your guess? How many people are going to sign up for all 9? I'll give a little backstory here before you take a guess. I've mentioned this before, kind of griping about it a few times, but you used to have to fish 3 of the 3 Bassmaster divisions, and the top 3 of those and the top 3 overall would qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. So you could fish 3 tournaments and possibly get in. This year, they made a change where you have to fish all 9 tournaments on the schedule and finish in that top 9 to make the Bassmaster Elite Series. So that's where we're at. Last year, it was insane to try to sign up for some of these. There was like 100-person waiting list. And this year, we are thinking that it's going to be slightly less.
Yeah, I don't know. There could be. This year, I think there were like 87 teams or something like that, or 87 guys that fished all 9.
Yeah.
And I know, judging off like the guys I know, like a third of them said they're not going to do them next year. But then there's some other stuff going on in the world with like the Tackle Warehouse Tour, and I mean, there could be 50 or there could be 150. I feel like we'll probably have like 130 to 150 that do all 9.
Yeah, that start all 9.
I'd rather see like 50 increase the odds a little, but
yeah, it's a massive commitment. I mean, you did it this year, and I was looking at you like, Oh my God, that looks terrible. You know?
Oh, it was. You fished for a long time, as well as a lot of other guys that have fished a lot of tournaments, and like, uh, you hit dry spells, and like I've been on a dry spell this year. Like even in Sturgeon Bay, like I got my butt handed to me, and then fishing all these new lakes around the country. Like I fished the Southerns and the Centrals last year, kind of got my feet wet, and then this year signed up for all 9. And by the time we took like that last swing through September and October, like I was just gonna quit. Like I knew I wasn't gonna make the Elite Series, so all I'm doing is fishing for a check or a classic invitation, and I was gonna give up, and I'm like, you know what, you don't get anything by quitting. So I feel obligated to all my sponsors as well. Like I told them I was gonna fish 9 Bassmaster Opens. I'm gonna fish all 9, so I fished the rest of them, and I learned a few things. And
you got to check at the worst fishery on the whole schedule. The Red River.
The one that I did not want to go to is the only one I cashed in this whole season. Like,
yeah, $3,600 check. How many bass did you catch in the two-day tournament?
What did I have? I think I had 7. Yeah, it's 7 fish
out of a total of 10.
Yeah, it was absolutely. The Red River is a complete shithole. Pardon my language, but
yeah, everyone's thinking it. Red River and that word kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's that's a lot of the fishing down south, though. It's not. You watch all these TV shows and you watch like the Elite Series, and you think these lakes are going to be so great, and they're really not. And that one, like, I didn't even figure anything out. I never figured anything out until the day before the tournament. Like, it was so hot down there. It was 95 degrees and no wind. And I was laying in bed Tuesday night, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I just slowed way down my last day of practice and started getting some bites and ran with it. And I lost a 4.5, 5-pounder on day 1. And fortunately, on day 2, I went back and caught it and ended up cashing a check.
Yeah, you said, yeah, I'm not going to forget your story from there. I remember you telling me you had to smoke a cigarette in between frog pops. You had to fish it damn slow.
Yeah, about as slow as you could possibly fish a frog. Crazy.
Yeah. Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's you pause it by a pad, and you're just like, you have to believe like that there's a bass laying under every lily pad, and you pause your frog there like he's looking at it, and then I don't know, an hour and 45 minutes later you get a bite. You don't screw it up.
Huh. Well, you were in the 30s there. If you tell someone at home, like, you know, if you finished 30th in Sturgeon Bay, you'd be like, oh, this is horrible. But to finish 30th at a Bassmaster Open, you have to beat 195 other people that are trying to fish for a living and are resourced to fish for a living. They've been there all week. They're going hard at you, and, you know, they want your money. So to beat that many of them, you got to be doing something right. So, I mean, I know it was a tough season, but I mean, even the tough ones, even when you get 100th place, you still beat 125 people that are trying to fish for a living.
Right.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's that. I have buddies all the time. They're like, really? Like, you couldn't just catch 5 bass? How hard can it be? But these opens are, I fished for a long time. Like, I grew up walleye fishing and fishing walleye derbies, and started getting my feet wet in bass fishing, 8-9 years ago. And I've always watched like the Elite Series and stuff, and you watch the Classic on TV, and I'm like, I want to go take a crack at that. But man, when you go down to these lakes and you got 225 bloodthirsty guys all trying to make the Elite Series, or most of them, I should say. Some guys could care less. But
You guys, it's even worse. Some guys are locals who just jackpot the tournament to take your money.
yeah,
Fish there around.
it's hard. Like, and then they get beat up on. Like, for a lot of guys have endless time to go and practice, and the fish get beat up, and like you can see it throughout practice. It just progressively gets harder and harder, and I gotta do something different next year. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I won a lot of practices this year. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, you got that big truck camper, and some of the events were set up where you just kind of went to the next one, right? So you got there early on a bunch of them. Probably got a false sample on a lot of these lakes of like how they're supposed to be fishing, and then here comes here comes 200 guys with sharp hooks just ready to lay the beats to them.
Right? Yeah, that's a real thing. I honestly think like I'd be better off showing up 2 days before, drive around the lake one day, fish a little bit the second day, and just run into the derby. Like no preconceived notions. When I drove back from Sam Rayburn, the last one, I had 18 hours in the truck to think about like where I went wrong this year.
Yeah.
And my very worst finishes were all on lakes that like I knew people that lived there or fished it a lot, and I had too much stuff in my head going into it, and you need to fish the fish like what the fish are doing currently, and
Yeah.
it's a huge mind game.
Well, think about it like home. I mean, sturgeon bait might be a little bit different, but I got enough of a hard time catching them on my memories. How the hell am I supposed to go somewhere and catch them on someone else's memories?
Right.
It's just not I mean, I'm sure there's places where, yeah, there's little sweet zones and maybe there's a magic lure or anything like that. But I don't know. The practice is shortened this year quite a bit. I looked, actually, I was reading the rules. I'm a little bit of a stickler on that stuff. I like to know line for line, wanted to see all the changes. You hear all the rumors. I just wanted to actually see the changes. And in the practice section, it said, okay, it's off limits for 25 to 30 days prior to the event. Official practice will be 3 days. So I'm like, okay, they said it was going to be 5 days, which means 4.5 because of the short day. I'm looking at it. I was like, that's 2.5 days. Like something's up here, or they snuck in a rule change. So I actually emailed Hank and I was like, hey, bud, like, what is going on here? And he just got back to me and said it was, there was a mistake, and it's 4.5 days.
That's good. Yeah. I would like the 3, but
Yeah, save a couple days of time off.
yeah, the only bad part though, like it's the same thing this year or next year as it is this year. Like you go from one end of the country to the other, and you might have like theoretically 5 days off that you can't fish.
Yeah.
Well, it takes you 2 days to get home. I mean, you got another 10 hours on what I have.
Yeah.
And then fuel costs so much. Like, what do you actually go home for a couple days and then turn around and drive back down? Or I'm not sure what I'm going to do this year. I might just go have some fun and fish a few lakes on my way to the next tournament. I don't know.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I got to come back and go to work in between, like every one. I can't miss a day.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I don't know. Maybe that'll help a little bit. I can't bitch about it because I really shouldn't, have even the opportunity to go. So
No, it's a lot of sacrifices, and you got to do what you got to do to be able to do them. Fortunately for me, I'm a fishing guide. Like it hurts. I lose, during salmon season, I'm going to lose $1,000 a day. But on the flip side, like I can make my own schedule and kind of do what I want. So that makes it a little easier.
What's the salmon game like?
So I have a 34-foot pursuit here in Sturgeon Bay that I run for salmon trips. we can take up to 6 people at a time with our license. I've got another kid, or young man, I should say. He's been working for me for, I think, 7 years now, 6 years.
Yeah.
Sent him to get his license so he can run the boat while I'm gone and at least have a little income while I'm on the road. But yeah, I don't know, we start usually like mid-June and fish until the end of August, early September. And it's all a trolling deal, but just a meat haul.
Nice. The boys don't have to work too hard. You don't have to. You just kind of hang out and wait for the lines to pop, and then reel in a couple hunks of meat.
Yeah, hang out and drink some beer until we get one. We got a grill on the boat. Guys will cook brats and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good time. I kind of like it more than, I run bass and walleye trips too on the bay. But the salmon stuff's like, it's way more laid back. Like everybody's just chilling out, relaxing. And we get a lot of bachelor parties, and I've had bachelorette parties and families and just, buddies, work groups, kind of.
Do you ever get anyone like in those bachelor parties that goes like offside? Like, have you ever had to like tighten someone's drag, like give them the talk, or because like you're way out offshore? If these guys are hard in the paint and like go, everyone's got a buddy that goes too hard. Like, what do you do if you get one of those on board out there?
I've had to go back to the dock twice and kick the group off the boat. Like, and it's hard to do. Like, I'm pretty tolerant, but you get some people, like, they just get out of control and they don't listen. Like, I'm liable for everybody on that boat. So if somebody falls over and I've got 18 lines in the water, like, I'm not just spinning around and picking you up.
Yeah.
So I've had 2 instances where guys have, drank too much and just got out of control and they don't listen. And you give them a couple of warnings and then it's like, all right, guys, like, no, we're going back to the dock and sorry. And, all their buddies are they're bummed out, and they actually just get pissed off at their buddy that wrecked it,
I guess so.
But I mean, you gotta take the safety part into check. And
yeah, I get it. I figured you'd have some stories of belligerence on board.
Yeah, there's been a few. I mean, it's crazy. Like, you'll have guys that I think they leave the bar at 2:30 at bar close. They get kicked out and they basically just walk down the dock and hop on the boat and start drinking again. And then just go crash after their trip for a day and head her home.
Yeah,
but
crazy. It's totally legal to drink on the boat down there, right?
Yeah, yep. Just as long as like the driving thing is still like Wisconsin's 0.08 or whatever it is. With a captain's license, I can't drink at all. I even have to watch. I'm drinking.
I mean, just having some cocktails on board, like you can't do that here. I wonder how the Canadian salmon trips are. Like, there's probably no bachelor parties out there.
No, it's got to be pretty boring.
I would think so. Brad's trying to get on here. The guy is a semi-professional podcaster and can't even sign into one little stream, so I'm not sure. I don't even know how he got into the opens with these kind of tech skills. Can you hear us, Brad? Yeah, not many bars of service in Iowa, I guess. Whatever. He can be cut off. If he gets on, he gets on. He's been bugging. When am I coming on the podcast? Well, yeah, I got to get you on. And now he just smoke bombs. He'd rather go rip cocktails with Chancey Walter in Iowa. Walters?
Yeah, Walters.
I always figured that was like Pat Walters' little brother or something, but obviously not. He's in Iowa.
I don't think they're related at all.
No, I'm sure he gets that a bunch. Is he going next year?
Yeah, he said he was signing up for all 9. It's about anybody that I really traveled with that's doing all 9 next year. I haven't talked to Willard. I don't know if he's doing all 9 or not.
Yeah.
A couple guys, other guys they're like, screw this. Sit home and I'll just jackpot all the local derbies and make some money instead of beating my head into the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, like, what do you think, like, the average lifespan is for someone trying to make it?
It's hard I mean, it depends on the guy. Like some of these guys, man, I think they've been doing this for like 10 years, which,
Yeah. Josh Douglas was, like, 7 or 8 years, I think. Maybe that's
yeah,
too many, maybe 5.
I mean, I gave myself 3 years of doing all
Yeah.
9. So I got next year and then one more year after that. And then I'll reassess the situation. And if I feel like I don't have the chance, like I'm not getting better, then I'm just going to scrap it. But
Yeah, it's an unmaintainable pace for,
yeah,
like,
you
unless
got to have like an idea of, you got to have a plan. Otherwise, it's just going to be a disaster. Like if you don't actually have like a plan, like it's still it's a business. Like what do we have? Like 18 grand in entry fees and your expenses. Like it costs you $45,000 to $50,000 to fish 9 Bassmaster Opens.
US, that's like
US, yeah.
7 some K Canadian right now.
And if you win one, you got to beat 224 other guys. You get a check for like 50 grand. Like there's no money in these. So if you look at it that you're going to go win a bunch of money, you're wrong, because that's not going to happen. It's not you're going for one reason. You're going to make the Elite Series.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the money thing, like, that is pretty clear. I mean, you look at it on paper, but, like, Hartwell got 19th. I think the check was $3,600.
Yeah,
Which would, yeah. So I probably lost $200 there, with fuel and everything. And then South Carolina state tax, $256. Canadian treaty tax, another 30%. The check was like $2,200. And at Cherokee, I got soaked for like $7,000 off the top. So to pay all 9 entries next year, I have to do like, I got to get that tax return dialed just to get that. I lost so much money in taxes that it could pay all 9 entries less deposits. Like, it's crazy. You get 19th out of 200 and lose money. So, but I mean, we know that we look at the payout going into it. That's not why we're doing it, but
right. Yeah. You guys definitely, you definitely have another, what do I want to say? Like another aspect going into it. Like you guys get taxed for everything when you cross the border again. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another barrier, but it's been done, at least it's not like, yeah, I don't know. There's maybe a couple advantages to being from Canada too. Like, I haven't found any yet.
There's got to be a few out there. You guys got a lot of really stupid bass around there, and walleyes and muskies, though.
Yeah, you can get
I've spent some time hanging around there. I enjoy it up there. It's I don't know. I almost moved there 6 years ago when I got divorced. I'm like, I had to move to Canada, and I was going to go live at Crawford's camp at Ryberg's place. And
yeah, you were trying to figure out how long you could live off just blue tall boys.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. How long will a pallet last me?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we're both from pretty special areas, obviously. Kind of both from those premium zones. And I think a couple things that we each have going for us is like just the level of tournaments. Like you guys have the Sturgeon Bay Open. That's probably the biggest open team tournament in the Midwest, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest one that I know of in the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's
So you
kinda,
got that kind of like use as your, as your gauge and get a feel for multi-day like high pressure events. And then, yeah, I mean, you've been up here and you've seen the 3-day deal up here, and it's pretty similar.
yeah, the KBI, I got to fish that for the first time. I fished that with Matt Ryberg this year, and you guys know I'd have a tournament. Like one heck
Yeah,
of a party afterwards and a 3-day event. It was fun. We didn't do so hot, but it was cool to see the parade the last day. Like I will go back just to make that tent parade. That's
yeah, yeah. That's something people take for granted a lot too. Like when I hear people up here like bitching at volunteers and directors and everything, I was like, you don't realize what we have. Like, there's nowhere else that's like this that glorifies bass fishing this much, like at an in-person event for 3 days. You might
right.
just want to shut up and enjoy it.
That's that's any big team tournament. Like
Sturgeon Bay, yeah.
Sturgeon Bay Open, like that's a lot of volunteers work hard to put that event together, and it's the same thing down here. You hear people complaining to volunteers and yelling at them, whatever. Like they're
Yeah,
volunteering their time. Like if they weren't there, we probably wouldn't have a tournament. You know,
for
I know.
sure wouldn't. You definitely wouldn't have a good payout. Before you go forward, I gotta say something. I think it was the first time I was there, I had there was an issue with weigh-in times, and we ended up on the wrong side of the weigh-in time. Cost us a check, whatever. It was our first time there. We were young, and yeah, I got in a big battle with Ken Ellis, and I look back and reflect on that, like what an idiot I was. Like, no one's getting paid here; they're just volunteering, and so that's kind of why I try to promote the volunteer love and not bitching after. So if anyone's listening and hears me talking about not having disputes with volunteers, that's I just got to air that out there.
Yeah, it might have been that same year. I don't know. Sam and I think it was the second year we fished it. We took third the first year we fished it. I think it was the second year, and like went on stage on day two. We had a little mishap with the time deal on day one. They changed it, but they didn't change it in the rules. So I just went off of what I looked at in the rules, right? Like that's how it should be. And day one, we actually made it back on time. I had a dead battery. Chase Parsons jumped me. He's like, dude, what flight are you in? And whatever it was. Anyway, we got back at 4 o'clock, which is when we're supposed to be back. And I thought I was getting back a half hour early. And long story short, people in the pontoon boat weren't paying attention. They're like, you're late. I'm like, bullshit. Like I was at the buoy at 4 o'clock, 3:59. It hit four as soon as I hit the buoy, so technically you're on time. They said we're good. Went and fished, busted our butts the next day. Went on stage, took third place, and then they took it away from us for that deal, and that was Ken. So
Yeah,
got in a few disputes myself, but
yeah. No, well, Ken was a boss though. I don't think he's around that tournament anymore, but he didn't mind going toe to toe. He was a good advocate for the derby.
right.
Yeah. Oh well, it's always a good time down there. I guess we're gonna miss that one this year with the schedule.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping. I actually just texted JJ today to find out what the dates were going to be, and they don't know yet. So I'm kind of hoping it's like that. I think it's the 12th to the 14th or something like that. If it is, I'll give up 2 days of practice at
Yeah.
the lake we're going to somewhere in Virginia. And
Yeah, Bug's Eye Reservoir or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't
That's a
mind.
good call. You'll probably pay for your week.
It's hard to leave like the biggest tournament we have here, and I'm gonna miss it. It's kind of disappointing, but
Yeah, part of that sacrifice deal. I'm probably not going to hardly fish any of them up here just because of the, won't have any time off or anything like that, and there's some overlap and everything. But yeah, I mean, I guess they'll always be there the year after.
yeah, yep, you gotta focus on the goal that's in front of you and go with that first. That's priority. So
Yeah, what do you got cooking the next little while? Are you getting on the ice train or?
no, we won't have ice here until, man, it's usually like mid-January at the earliest. Last few years we haven't got out till like the first week of February.
Oh
So,
God.
yeah, I'm just hanging out in a tree stand every day right now, trying to kill one of these elusive whitetails. And another week, we're going down to Florida, taking the family down there and hanging out with the Rybergs. And then
Nice
come
one.
home, work a couple ice shows, build some more shacks, just kind of do whatever. I spent the last 2 weeks in the garage, get my boat peeled down, get the wrap off, and organize and tackle and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And just getting ready for next year.
Yeah, I guess that's what I should probably be doing. I haven't pulled the cover off the boat yet since the surf derby.
All right.
You're a tackle freak. You go hog wild on it.
Oh man, you've been to the warehouse, like where I kind of had all my stuff sitting on that one side. Now the pegboard's all pegged out and I got everything organized, all nice and neat. I can't find anything like, man, I know I bought some of these plastics or whatever it might be, and then you order more and then you start digging in totes and it's like, shit, there's 12 bags right there. Like I knew I had more, but
Yeah. Instead, yeah, people probably don't know. Jay Shakurat, Elite Series Pro, Elite Series Champion, Rookie of the Year this year was Raz's travel partner last year.
yeah, last year we fished the Southerns and Centrals together.
You said he didn't mind taking advantage of the Raz tackle store.
Right. Yeah, the old F-250 was just jam-packed full of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the beauties of Rapala. Like you got all your bases covered for sure.
Yeah,
Hooks and weights and line and all the hard baits.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything. There's some more cool stuff coming down the road that I'm pretty excited about that we should start seeing in the hopefully next year, if not 2 years. But you guys seem to be a little bit behind us on that stuff. I don't know.
We got the good reels first.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So got you there. We had the jigging shadow wrap first.
Yeah. Well, you should know what I'm talking about, bud.
Yeah, I don't have a damn clue.
No,
yes.
There's some cool stuff that we're working on that will be pretty neat.
Nice.
It'll open up a little more.
Good. I'm gonna hit you up for all this new tackle.
Yeah.
You need someone to put in your stash to keep the population in check of your lures.
You can just raid the truck camper this year, go underneath the couch, and it's usually where it's all hidden.
Yeah. Hey, I booked a spot for Eufaula. I was looking last night. There's like 6 Airbnbs on the whole lake. No idea what the plan is, but I booked one. It's got a big yard, so I'll send you the link and you can probably park her there too. Raz travels in a truck camper all year. He stayed with us at Hartwell and said was actually cheaper to stay in the parking lot of an Airbnb than one of them damn campgrounds.
Right. Yeah, that worked out pretty good. Got to at least come inside and hang out with you and Cody at night instead of being stuck in that little box. I still slept in it because the bed's comfy, but
Yeah.
I want to listen to Cody snore all night. So,
Oh man, that's like nothing I've ever seen in my life.
I wasn't even in there when it started, so I don't know how bad it was.
You need a separate house. Like, like if you were married to him, you'd need another house.
See, my wife's sitting on the other side of the table here. She doesn't know how good she's got it.
Yeah.
I hear about it all the time that like I snore, especially when I'm drinking. Like it's just absolutely horrible, the worst thing in the world. And all the guys that I've traveled with are like, I don't even hear you at night. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Must be a bunch of made up stuff trying to make me feel bad about myself or something.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty silent in your house until McNanny's there for Sturgeon Bay week.
Yeah. Boiling chicken and
yeah. We when we were down, I don't remember if I touched on this story on one of the other podcasts, but Raz opened his arms to us, said we can stay at his house. You know, they got a little girl over there, and it's kind of like we go off site to do the the rigging and the nighttime festivities and everything, and then when you're going back to the house, it's game face, go to bed, wake up, and go fishing. And we get back there, and McNanny's like, "Oh, I forgot lunch. I gotta make something for lunch." And yeah, he's crashed banging around and woke up Raz at like 2 a.m. And what was he doing down there? Tell me the story.
oh, so I walk in. I didn't go to bed yet. I just got back from the warehouse and I walk in. He's got this tiny little pan, like the size of my hat, and it's about 1.5 inches deep. And there's like 4 chicken breasts in there, and it's full of water, and it's just boiling over on the stove. And I'm like, Daddy, what in the F are you doing? Like, I'm boiling lunch meat. We have like pots that you can fill up with water and you can boil it in there. Oh, this will work. So yeah, so I looked at, I think you went to bed and Benny was up and McNanny. I was going to bed and I'm like, Benny, just make sure he doesn't burn my house to the ground. And he'd go in to check the chicken. He'd take a bite. Nope, still raw.
Yeah, taste testing it. The doneness.
Yeah. I guess you guys do it a little different up there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he slept in the boat the whole next day. I turned around and was just like, don't worry, bud. I'll just break down the whole Great Lake by myself. Thanks for the help. Oh man, I'm gonna miss going there this year. That place is unreal.
There's definitely there's a little bit of alcohol consumed in Sturgeon Bay in May.
Yeah, well, you live in a bar.
Well, that fortunately now, like, yeah, we all get to hang out there instead of going to the bar. Like, I don't even know how I afforded it before. Like, we'd all be at the bar every night just having a party. It just turns into a 2-week party because you always have like Gary Nault's tournament the weekend before and everybody's up pre-fishing. They fish that, and you have the whole week before the Open. My God, it's just like a shit show. Like most of you guys from Canada come down and it's like prohibition setting in the next day. Like you better drink everything you can before it's all gone.
Yeah. Well, it's always the first open water we see of the year. We're all locked up all winter. It's all we think about, first tournament, and then you see a bunch of people you don't ever see, and then it just is a breach.
Oh yeah. No, it kind of sucked during the COVID time and you guys couldn't come down. It's good to have you guys all back down last year. I look forward to seeing everybody from up there, you and Norman and all those clowns and Billy Gooden. And there's a lot of really good sticks that come down from from your area, and they're definitely a threat down here. You guys know how to catch them.
Yeah, it's fun coming down there too, because you just like, you see your buddies from there and you see buddies from here. And it's like you never skipped a beat. Like you just get right back into bullshitting. And,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's one of those weird deals. It's one of the beauties of the tournaments up here. And like the opens are a whole different level. It's a totally different contrast. And, I guess when you're at that level, it's your job. So there's not really any consumption or partying or anything like that. But it's camaraderie, though. Like I'll say that.
You got to be on your game every day. Yeah, I don't know. You get spoiled and stuff like the open, like when you can go out and crack every single bass that bites your bait, and you go and catch 5 and 6 pounders during practice, and it doesn't matter how many of them you catch because they ain't going to be there the next day. Like
in Sturgeon Bay, yeah.
Yeah. You go down south and it's like, nope, don't set the hook on that one. Don't set the hook on that one. And shit, 45 guys found that spot. That's out of the question. And it's just constantly, it's a battle.
Yeah. Who, have you been staying with some people? Like we stayed together at Hartwell. What do you, like, you usually go to the campgrounds. You got like a crew you roll with there?
There's a handful of guys that camp at all of them.
Yeah.
I just kind of got to know them throughout the season and talk a little bit. It's kind of nice just to see what everybody else has going. Like if the bite is tough, is it really that tough? You got to talk to a few people. And Leitner and I stayed together a few times.
Yeah.
He talks to everybody. So
yeah, he's a butterfly.
Yeah, I kind of live in my own little shell and just try to do my own thing. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to hang out with some other guys and get it's fishing. Like I could give you the spot and tell you exactly what to do, and you could go there and not catch them, and I could go there and crack them, and vice versa. Like you can't catch somebody else's fish.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've learned. Like what somebody else is doing, it might not work for you. So, but It's nice to have some little clues as to what they're doing. Are they shallow? Are they deep? Are they eating a moving bait? Or are they eating a jig? Or
yeah, I more mean like I kind of more want to be around people when I'm traveling just to like have that camaraderie and like not go into your own shell too much and where you end up maybe overthinking things. Like, I mean, you got enough of a drive in between them things to.
Yeah, you got plenty of time to think.
Long drive alone and, and a long, I'm going to book places with a big yard. You can drop that RV in them anytime. That's all I look for in the Airbnbs now. After that one we stayed at in Bean Station, Tennessee, Brad never got his damage deposit back because we like disassembled the fence to get all our boats in there.
Yeah, that place you found at Hartwell, that was a sweet little spot. We had a donkey and a couple of horses out back, and
yeah, we had 2 donkeys. We had Woody in the cabin.
Yeah, we had Woody too. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It was just nice, like being able to joke around and have a few laughs and
then your guys' favorite bar and restaurant burnt to the ground. That was a little disappointing.
Yeah, Willa Dean's burnt right to the ground. Like we went there 3 nights. It was our favorite, and then it just went away. It burned down. Like it's probably been there for 40 years, maybe under different management.
That place was around for a while.
There's some pretty sketchy humans in there though, so it was its time was coming at some point.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when they quit serving at 8 o'clock or whatever it was. I think you guys went grocery shopping. I called you. I'm like, they're shutting the kitchen down, so hurry up or forget about it. Then the next morning, I was at the gas station getting gas, and the sheriff was in there, and they're talking about Willadine's being on fire. I'm like, no way. And then you guys drove by it, and she was gone.
Yeah, you guys were suspects.
Yeah.
You ate the last meal that anyone will ever eat at Willadine's pub.
That is a true fact.
All right, bud. Which one are you looking forward to mostly? Don't say St. Lawrence River because
come on, not the St. Lawrence.
Man, so many people, like I've had a couple buddies reach out and been like, "Oh, I want to do the co-angler thing." I'm like, "Yeah, right on." And they're all like, what St. Lawrence? Even Ashley's coming to the St. Lawrence. Like, I'm gonna have like 24 people with me. Probably none of them will get in as co-anglers, but
yeah, Benny already called when he saw the schedule. He's like, "I'll go to the St. Lawrence with you." I'm like, "Can you like pick like a division or something to fish? Like, hang out for more than just one tournament? Like, everybody just wants to go to." What's that?
Who is that?
Benny Antonevich.
Benny. I just didn't hear what you said. Yeah, I know Benny.
Yeah, little Benny, big Benny, Mr. 8 pound smallmouth in Sturgeon Bay. Yeah, he just wants to cherry pick all the good ones to go to, and
yeah, I believe that. It sounds like I got one for Eufaula, and Eufaula, St. Lawrence, and who knows about the rest. More just want to drive and partner.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Your last couple driving partners, one almost got you killed and the other one got pulled over just outside of Duluth, didn't he?
Yeah. McNanny drove for he literally drove for 20 or 25 minutes I just had driven for 7 or 8 hours, and gets pulled over like right away and just like blames me. McNanny's getting roasted hard in this one.
I like it. McNanny roast.
But yeah. Okay, well, what's your pick? What's your schedule pick?
My pick, man, I honestly didn't even really pay attention to the schedule that much, but
it's a shit show, in case you're wondering, in case you need to look at it again.
I like Alabama. Like, I don't know. I've been to Gunnersville a few times, and it's been pretty good to me. So I'm gonna go with Wheeler.
Really?
I think we're there in May. Like, there might be. I know nothing about the lake, but I think there's a little offshore fishing to do there. They might be post-spawn. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with that one as my good event for the year.
Nice.
Since you won't let me pick the St. Lawrence, so.
Well, I think the St. Lawrence is just going to be too good. It's like I've heard guys say that about like Champlain, like it's just, or not Champlain, St. Clair, like it's just too good. So if you get dialed in, like someone from Texas can just go float a 4-inch tube like with a 1/2 ounce head out in the middle of and just drift over the right ones for a couple days and beat your ass.
I'm hoping that me, you, and Leitner all be in the top 10 battling it out the last day. That can be a fun one. I don't know. I've never been there, but Great Lakes smallmouths are Great Lakes smallmouths, and I've been pretty good at catching them around here. So I look forward to that one.
Yeah, you're going to be getting leaned on for info there.
Yeah. Just chucking a swim bait around. Nothing to see here.
How about the first one? That one's terrifying to me. Eufaula. I think that's going to be really not easy.
Oh, I know it's like a brush pile lake, but I don't know, like, man, that time of year.
It's also like half Florida lake. Like there's alligators and grass and shit.
There's grass in there too?
Yeah.
Man.
I think. It looks like it. I watched it on TV and there's grass in it.
I haven't done any research on any of these lakes, and I did so much research this year and I got my ass handed to me. So I think next year, like, I don't want to talk to anybody about any of these lakes. Like,
Okay, sorry.
I'll see you guys there. Well, you know what I mean, though. I'm not gonna go watch like every YouTube video that's made, and I'm just gonna wing it. I just want to go up, look at the lake at the stage that the lake is in, and go from there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hear that. At least know enough about them to know what kind of rods to bring.
Knowing me, all of them, like, I take way too much stuff with me.
Yep. Whatever. Better to have too much, I think.
Take a handful of spinning poles and all your bait casters, and usually by the day of the derby, you're casting a spinning rod because they've been beat on so bad already. Put a Gary on and go to town. I don't know.
Gary will find them. Gary will find them. All right, bud. Well, I'm gonna send you the link to that place I dialed up. It's nothing fancy. Brad will love it. I don't know if he's always got a million places to stay, so I don't know, but we'll team her up.
You have to bring Canada's co-angler to a couple of them. Unless, I don't know, you might have a pretty sour taste after day 2 at Hartwell.
I think he had enough of a good time pre-fishing that experience is what it is, you know?
Yeah, it was, he had some cool moments, got to see a couple of his idols, and
yeah, got to catch a fish in front of Matt Robertson.
Yeah,
no, he was good. He was a textbook co-angler to haul down with. Yeah, I got a couple other buddies that are high caliber travel partners too that are probably coming down. So we're gonna have a good time, even if we get 104th in points.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out this year, bud. I'm looking forward to it. Like, it's nice to be home for a while, but man, I wish I was like still down south fishing. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things. Once you start, it's like a addiction, and you don't want to stop until you conquer it.
Did Allie just throw something at you when she heard you say that?
Threw me a bush light.
She threw you a bush light after you said that? I thought she'd throw you a haymaker.
I'll go pack your stuff.
She's packing. I'm heading back down south, bud.
What's that?
I got a camper. I don't need to live here.
Yeah, that's your trump card. You just go sleep in the driveway.
She's packing my bags for me. It doesn't get any easier.
Oh, so that bush light was just for the road.
Yeah. Apparently I'm supposed to have that as a roadie.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping on, bud.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd get to do some chirping with Brad, but that was good. Some good stuff, some insight from a seasoned guy on the road, and I'm looking forward to hitting it next year.
Yeah, me as well. Send me that link to that place, and we'll be in touch. So I'm gonna be up there, I think January 9th. I'm coming up trout fishing, so maybe if you can sneak away for a day, we'll have to go beat on some trout.
Yeah, done deal. I'm putting her in the calendar right now.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll go harass Ryberg and maybe drag him out of the house if his wife will let him. We'll see.
Had to sneak that Ryberg turf in there, right?
Heck yeah.
You'll like that. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Go boil up some chicken breast for lunch tomorrow.
All right. See you, bud. Thanks.
Hey, cheers. Thank you.